What's going on, everybody? It is Big L56 here, bringing you our Week 6 battle against Coach Middy and the Collingwood Corviknights. If you watched our team builder, you know what we're bringing and why we're bringing it, but I will put a link on the top of the screen here so you can go watch that if you missed it and you want to know what we're doing. But just to recap what we're bringing, we are bringing Sarina, Vaporeon, Palossand, Megalopony, Galvantula, and Togekiss. It looks like Middy brought Flareon, Dracozolt, Primarina, Gourgeist, Landorus, and Tyranitar. First impressions at the team preview was Gourgeist. If you watched the team builder, you know that was like the one Pokemon I said I couldn't really see him bringing, and he brought it. So that was a really big surprise. I also didn't expect the Flareon. That was another surprise to me. So we need to figure out what that does, if it's a kind of like especially defensive, Wish Passer, or if it's going to be that Toxic Orb Gut set that can really hit hard with Flare Blitz. But like I said in the team builder, my lead is going to be the Lopunny. He doesn't really switch into it very well. So unless he leads like the Primarina, I can get really big damage off on something with a close combat or an Ice Punch, or I can just U-turn out and get a good pivot into something I want. So let's hop right into it. And he actually leads the Gourgeist, and I didn't really see any reason to go for anything but a fake out here. But he goes for the Protect. So even though Megalopony has only been led twice this season, this is yet another time where Megalopony gets counter led. But it's not a big deal. He protects against the fake out, which is understandable. So I decided I'm just going to go ahead and U-turn out. I think I'm going to go ahead and go out into Sarina. I don't think there's really much this thing will be able to do to me. And based on that damage with U-turn, we can see that Gourgeist is very, very defensive. If he's max HP with a lot of defense, I can get that roll. So we don't know if it's max yet, but we know that it's a very defensive set. It's not offensive. So Sarina is a pretty safe switch in, and maybe we could scare it out with a knockoff. He goes for the Leech Seed, and obviously that doesn't affect Sarina being a grass type. So I decided I'm just going to go for a U-turn, and he scouts and goes for another Protect, assuming scouting for the knockoff. So he gets more healthy, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and go for the U-turn here. I don't see any reason to go for anything else, and I go out into Togekiss, because if this thing is physically defensive, Togekiss can do a huge chunk to this thing with Air Slash. And he's not really going to want to stay in. So, but he goes for the Rock Slide, which was a really good play on his part. That did a pretty good chunk. And so this turn, I decided I'm gonna go ahead and roost up. I don't see any reason to go for anything else. If he wants to stay in and go for another Rock Slide, it doesn't do nearly as much because we lose our flying typing. And he makes a good switch into Tyranitar, knowing that we really can't do much to it unless we have like Aura Sphere, but I'm assuming this thing is specially defensive. And I can't stay in here, so I just decide, you know what, I'm going to go right back into Sarina. We know that we're max defense. We know this thing can't really do that much to us. As he gets up his Stealth Rocks, which was kind of annoying. I didn't really want Rocks up in this game. I thought about going for Rapid Spin on this turn just to get rid of him, but I didn't know what he wanted to go for. If he was special, I didn't want him to go for Ice Beam. Sorry about that. I didn't want him to go for Ice Beam in case he was special, because I did want HP on Sarina. So I just decided I'm going to go for a Trop Kick and try to maybe scare him out. And we do a good chunk of damage, and we can see based on that damage that he is a specially defensive T-Tar. So that's max HP with 0 defense investment is a good, we can get that roll. As he goes for a Thunder Wave and misses, which is really unfortunate for him. I don't think it really would have mattered too much because we do have Heal Bell on Vaporeon. And you'll see later in the game, we have a lot of opportunities that we could have had to click it. So I don't think it really would have mattered that much. So here, I don't expect him to stay in. So I decide I'm going to go ahead and go for a U-turn. I don't think he's going to want to stay in, because he's going to want to be able to set the sand multiple times. So he goes out into Flareon. I don't see any reason to go out to anything but Lopunny here, because based on that damage, I can tell that he does have a lot of HP, but he's most likely specially defensive. But he could be max HP, max attack. But I know that without a lot of defense investment, there is no way he can live a close combat from Megalopony. So I know that close combat here is really, really free. So I decided I'm just going to go ahead and click close combat, get big damage off on something, as he reveals that he has protect as well. I'm assuming he's probably scouting for the fake out here, didn't want to take any unnecessary damage. But that leads me to believe that it probably does have Wish, so it's probably more of a bulky set. It's probably not the offensive set with Guts. And if it was Guts, we probably would have seen the Toxic Orb pop by now. So I see no reason to go for anything but close combat yet again, as he goes into the Gourgeist, and we can see based on that roll that it is max HP, max defense. That's the only way we could have gotten that little of a roll, which is kind of unfortunate because that's not enough damage that I could two-shot it, which is really a bummer because we really want to get rid of this thing because we didn't think it was going to come, so we didn't really bring a lot for it. So here, I decided I'm just going to go for a U-turn. I didn't see any reason to predict the protect or anything like that, and just go right back out into Sarina, as he reveals that he does have the Power Whip. And that's all four of its move. It has Protect, Leech Seed, Power Whip, and Rock Slide. So we know it doesn't have a Ghost type move. So if we can hit it, and it is physical, so if we can hit it with like a Trop Kick, then that means Palossand is pretty free to come in on this thing and launch off a pretty strong Shadow Ball. So here, he goes for a Protect, and I think I'm just going to go for a Trop Kick, try to whittle this thing down a little bit. And unfortunately, he does protect, get a little bit of HP back. And on this turn, I'm pretty sure I decided to go for a U-turn. Yep. Because I don't want this thing to get whittled down. And I just go right back out into Togekiss. And a part of the reason that I went into Togekiss here was I thought I still had Defog on this set. But in the team builder, I explained that last second I switched Rapid Spin in for knockoff on Sarina. And I switched Defog out for Air Slash on Togekiss. So that was a little bit of a misplay on my part, but it's not a bad play. It worked out all right. But it is what it is. I wanted to get rid of rocks here, but we're not in a bad situation. Here, I see Roost as a no drawback play because I predicted to protect. I just see no reason to not to get myself healthy. And that's what happens. Here, I decide it's a no drawback play to go ahead and go for an Air Slash. If he goes out into the Tyranitar, then he goes out to the Tyranitar. But he goes out into Flareon, and this reveals to us that he is specially defensive. This is a very specially defensive Flareon. And that Air Slash, otherwise that Air Slash would have done a lot more. I don't really want to stay in here. I just decide I'm going to go ahead and go out into Palossand because there's not really anything this thing can do to me. So he goes for the Wish, and I decide I'm going to get my own rocks up here because I predict him to protect. And that's exactly what happens. He protects. We get our own rocks up, which is really, really nice to chip down that Gourgeist. That Gourgeist is proving to be a big problem since we don't have anything for it, really. We didn't bring anything for it. So here, I decide I'm just going to go for a Scorching Sands. Just want to see how much it'll do. And it doesn't really do very much. It does a decent chunk. But here, I think I go fishing for a Spadef drop, but I don't think he's going to want to stay in. So I go for the Shadow Ball. As he goes into the Primarina, and this Primarina has some investment in HP or special defense, because I feel like that Shadow Ball should have done more, but needless to say that with 21%, that's a nice little chunk. We're just going to get it all back anyway because of that Wish. We didn't get the Spadef drop, which is kind of what we were fishing for by going for that there. So I go out into Vaporeon, which is my dedicated check to this, as he reveals the Substitute, which is kind of scary. We talked about we thought this thing would probably be Specs, but we did think about that sub-Calm mindset, and so he's revealed the sub. We don't know if he has Calm Mind yet, but we thought he needed all four moves to potentially break us. So I can't stay in here, and I just decide I'm going to get a slow flip turn off, let him get the Moonblast off. We can see there that he is max special attack by that damage. We can go out into Galvantula. I know this will break the sub. He's not going to want to go out into Landorus and just get rid of it and just lose his sub for nothing. He's probably going to want to stay in here and get a hit off on something. So I decided I'm just going to go for a Volt Switch, break the sub, and go right out into Sarina. And, excuse me. And he goes for the Moonblast. This crit doesn't matter. It would have mattered if it got the KO, but that crit doesn't matter because I was two-shot from that HP anyway. I just wanted a safe switch. I was basically wanting to get a safe switch into Lopunny at this point because I knew Fake Out plus U-Turn would do a really, really good chunk of damage to this Primarina. So here I decided I'm gonna see what he wants to do. I'm gonna stay in and go for a rapid spin here. If he wants to stay in and KO me, he stays in and KOs me. That's fine. There's a chance that I'm faster anyway, depending on what his investment is, because Sarina, I believe, naturally outspeeds Primarina. So if he has no speed, he knows we outspeed. So I just go for a rapid spin here to get rid of the rocks. And we do a really nice chunk of damage to the Flareon. I didn't expect it to do that much. And I just go ahead and hard switch out into Vaporeon. And he just goes for a Wish. I almost went for a Trop Kick there, predicting him to Wish there. But, excuse me. But I thought that I had a really good chance to potentially get a Wish into Sarina in the future, because I knew that Vaporeon was slower than a lot of his Pokemon, so I could potentially get a slow flip turn off and pass a Wish into Sarina to get it back to healthy. And I didn't know if this Flareon had Quick Attack, so if it had Quick Attack, U-turn would not have been safe there. So here, I just decided to go for a Wish. I don't really see any reason to go for anything else here. I could get that Wish off. And here, I just decided to go for a Flip Turn. This is what I was waiting for. I wanted to get a Flip Turn off into Sarina so I can get Sarina healed up. And that's what we get. And Sarina is looking fairly healthy again, which is really, really nice for us. You want to keep Sarina healthy. We know we can eat any 2 hits. He goes for the Moonblast. I go for the Trop Kick here to break the sub. I don't want this thing to stay behind the sub. And here, I think I just decided to go for another Trop Kick. I don't want this thing to stay very healthy. Or do I go for a U-turn? I go for a U-turn here. I didn't think it would stay in. That's right. I go for a U-turn here. And I just go right out into Lopunny. I know Fake Out plus U-turn or Fake Out plus Close Combat could do really, really big damage. So I go for the Fake Out, do a nice chunk of damage. And I don't know if this thing's going to want to stay in. I think I clicked U-turn here. I'm not sure. But he goes out into Landorus, which is really, really scary. And we do just go for the U-turn, and we get a nice little chunk of damage off on it. And I go out to Vaporeon. I know Vaporeon can live anything this thing wants to go for. And I can get a nice Wish off. And maybe pass that into Sarina again. And that's what happens. He goes for Defog. I messed up in the team builder. I don't know why. I just kind of brain farted and didn't think of Landorus when I thought of his hazard removal. I think I said in the team builder that his only hazard removal was Silvally and Hitmonchan. But me, having a case of the dumb at the time, apparently, forgot that Landorus gets Defog. So, stupid me, I thought rocks were here to stay on his side. But Landorus goes for Defog, which is perfectly fine with me. That means that Vaporeon only has to eat 1 hit here to pass a Wish back into Sarina, which is really, really nice. So, I'm really healthy. I decide I'm going to go ahead and go for a Flip Turn here. I can eat any hit he wants to go for. As he reveals that he's Life Orb, and Flip Turn does a huge amount of damage to the Landorus. So, we go out into Sarina, and we get up to really, really healthy, and that's beautiful for us. I know that he can't do all that much to us, so we just go ahead and go for the Trop Kick, and Sarina, after being so close to dead already several times in this game, claims the first KO of the match, 33 turns in. So both of us have been playing really well, been using our walls really, really well, and we got rid of a huge threat in Landorus. That thing can be a monster if you let it stick around, and I'm really glad we were able to get rid of it. Here, I'm expecting him to go out into Gourgeist, and he goes out into Flareon. I don't really want to stay in here, so I go out into Vaporeon. I don't think it can do anything to me, and he does reveal that he has the Flare Blitz, and the only way it can do that little to us, because we are 0 defense, we don't have any defense investment on this Vaporeon. The only way it can do that little to us is if he doesn't have any attack, so we know that this thing is most likely max HP, max special defense, unless it has some defense investment. So I see no drawback to going for a Wish here, as I believe he does as well. Yeah, we both just go for Wishes here. Here, I don't want to go for Flip Turn and risk winning the speed tie, so I just go for Protect. It was one of those situations where I kind of wished I had Scald, because if I had won the speed tie and gone for Scald, I maybe could have gotten rid of him. I doubt it because of all his special defense investment, but you never know. We could have gotten a crit or something and gotten Vaporeon back up to full and gotten a knockout on Flareon, but it is what it is. Protect was our best play there. And he goes for the Flare Blitz. We each get our Wishes up. And we're back to full, which is really, really nice. I see no reason to go for anything but another wish here. I'm thinking I can maybe get another wish into Sarina. And here I think, you know what, if I win the speed tie, I don't want to go out into Sarina and eat a Flare Blitz. I can always just pass that wish into Palossand if I really want to, because that way he'll take the recoil and we can go out into Palossand. Palossand will be right back to full. If we lose the speed tie, or if he goes for protect and he goes for protect another wish, anything really, we can pass this wish right into Sarina and get back to really healthy on Sarina again, which is what we want. So here we lose the speed tie, which is what we want. He goes for a wish, and we can go right into Sarina, and Sarina is back to full health, nice and healthy, just what we want to see. And here I know that he cannot OHKO us because we are max defense. So I just decided to go for a U-turn. I didn't think he'd want to stay in here, but he just goes for the protect. And here I think I just go for the U-turn again, and we go right into Palossand. It's a very, very safe switch, as he does go for another wish. So here, I believe I go for the Scorching Sands. No, I go for Stealth Rocks. Sorry. I get my rocks back up because, yeah, that's right. I wanted to chip down the Primarina. I wanted to potentially chip down this Gourgeist because both of them have been huge thorns in my side this whole time. So potentially getting them weakened down will be really, really nice. That extra damage. And unfortunately, his Primarina is right back up to full. Here, I predict the substitute, and I decide to go for a Shadow Ball. I was kind of hoping I'd get a higher roll this time, and Shadow Ball would break the sub, but no such luck, unfortunately. So here, I can't stay in. He can get a huge hit off on me with a Hydro Pump or Scald. So I just go out into Vaporeon as he does reveal the Calm Mind. And right now, I'm thinking I have to be extremely, extremely careful around this Primarina. If this thing's able to keep setting up on me, I'm going to be in huge trouble because this thing's a threat. I do know, however, that based on the damage that I did from Shadow Ball before, that Shadow Ball plus Flip Turn should be able to break his sub here. So that's just what I go for. I know I can eat any hit he wants to go for. He sets up another Calm Mind, but we are able to break the sub with Flip Turn, which is really, really nice. And I go out into Mega Lopunny because I want to whittle this thing down. I know based on damage before that Fake Out can do a nice chunk of damage, and then I can U-turn out into something to get myself a little bit better matchup, something that can eat these hits. So that's what happens. I go ahead and just go for the Fake Out here, get a nice chunk of damage off. I can't let Lopunny go down. I know that Lopunny is something he can't switch into very well. So I'm like, you know what, I'll take that damage. I'll go ahead, U-turn out because I know I'm faster, get him whittled down, and I can eat 2 hits with Sarina because we're right back at full. And here, Moonblast, unless he gets 2 really high rolls on our Sarina, depending on his spread, of course, we can live any 2 hits. And right there, he got about a middle-of-the-road roll, a roll that was just high enough that he did have a roll to KO us. But it was a roll heavily in our favor, and this is a big turning point in the game. I'm going for a Trop Kick here, because I want to see, because this is my best chance to take out the Primarina. I figure even if I don't KO, even if he does get the KO, I can go out into Galvantula, threaten it with a Thunder, because a Thunder did KO even at +2 special defense. And even if it didn't kill, if he got the kill on Galvantula, I can always come back in and revenge it with Mega Lopunny. So I had ways around this, but it would have cost me a couple of Mons. And at this point in the game, those Mons were really, really important. So I decided I'm going to go for a Trop Kick, as he does go for another sub. I think he predicted me to go for a U-turn here, but I could not let this thing end up behind a sub, and I knew U-turn wouldn't break the sub. So I'm just like, I'm just going to stay in and click Trop Kick, and basically one of 2 things is going to happen. You're either going to die, or I'm going to die. One of these 2 Mons is going to go down with this interchange, and we see that he does not get the roll with the Moonblast, and we're able to knock out that Primarina with Trop Kick, and Sarina gets another KO. Sarina, who has been the backbone of our team for this entire game, claims another KO and gets rid of another one of his really strong offensive threats. He goes out into Tyranitar here. Here, I'm content to just let Sarina go down and go for a Trop Kick, get some good damage off on this Tyranitar. as he decides to get rocks up. That really surprised me. I thought he'd just go ahead and claim the KO on Sarina here. Basically, any move he would want to go for would have done it. And on this play, instead of going for Rapid Spin would have killed. I'm pretty sure. But I thought he would go into Gourgeist. I thought he would want to save his Tyranitar to potentially try to set Sand another time. But I go for the U-turn instead of the Rapid Spin here because I thought that he would try to spin block with Gourgeist, but he doesn't. He goes ahead and leaves the Tyranitar in as I go for the U-turn, and we get another KO. You know, so that's a few times I was content to let Sarina go down, and Sarina ends up getting 3 KOs, and that's huge for our team. I decided to go out into Palossand because if you look at his team, he's got a worn down Flareon, a Dracozolt that doesn't really want to come in on a ground type, and a Gourgeist that's also pretty worn down. So we can go ahead, go out into Palossand, and he brings in the Gourgeist. I know that at this range, I can live a Power Whip, and I know that at this range, he can't live a Shadow Ball. So I decide I'm just going to go for a Shadow Ball here. Whatever he goes for doesn't matter. He misses the Leech Seed. That move didn't matter, at least not this turn, it didn't matter. But I'm also Sand Veil on this set, and we're in Sand, and Leech Seed isn't a 100% accurate move. I also get the KO with Shadow Ball here, so it wouldn't have caused any damage this turn anyway. So Palossand getting a kill. Really nice to see that after the last time I brought it. I basically just used it as a sack. Here, he goes into Flareon. He goes for the Flare Blitz. It doesn't really do that much damage to us, but he does get the burn, which is kind of unfortunate. Cancels out our leftovers. I go for the Scorching Sands here, and I was hoping to maybe get a higher roll or a crit so Sand would knock it out, but it doesn't, and that's kind of unfortunate. But here, I know that he's either going to knock himself out to Flare Blitz, or I know that he's going to go down to Sandstorm damage, so I just decided to go for a Shore Up. I don't see a reason to make any other play. He does go for the Flare Blitz. He KOs himself, and we just go for the Shore Up, and we get right back to nice and healthy. And his last mon is the Dracozolt, and we know we can live any 2 hits from this thing. He goes for the Earthquake. It misses because, like I said, because of Sand Veil. We go for the Scorching Sands, do big damage. He goes for the Draco Meteor on this last turn, and we know, I'm pretty sure a crit there doesn't KO us, but there might have been a chance because we did have that little bit of Spadef investment for that mixed set. So here we go for the Scorching Sands, and we get the KO, and we pick up a huge 6-0 victory against Middy. And that was a really, really close game. That game was way closer than the score indicates. If Primarina is able to get that roll on Sarina, I don't think it would have changed the complete outcome of the game, but it definitely would have made it much harder for me, especially in the end game, because it would have been harder for me to deal with that Primarina. I would have had to sack a few Mons to get around that Primarina. Just gonna take a drink real quick. But that is GG's to Middy. He played well overall, I think. We played really, really well. We were able to get those wishes into Sarina, which really, really helped us. Sarina was just the backbone of our team this game. We were able to keep our walls healthy, and we were just able to make it really, really hard for him to break. So that moves us to 5-1. We're really close to accomplishing our first goal of the season, which was a 500 record. You know, it's 12 weeks. If we get to 6 wins, we're guaranteed that 500 record, and it makes us really, really close to goal number 2, which was clinching playoffs. I am going to make a video this week at some point, going over the league as a whole. Going to go over the rankings. We'll see where everybody's at, see what the playoff picture kind of looks like. And I'm going to go over my team. You know, things that I've liked about the team so far, things I haven't really liked about the team so far, how I think the season is going for us as a whole, and talk about some changes we're thinking about making going forward. I'm not going to give too many details because I don't want to give anything away. I don't want transactions to get made before we could potentially make them. But we are thinking about making a roster move or two. But that'll do it for me. But please, if you liked this video, please like and subscribe. Comment down below what you liked, things I could do better even. Make sure you check out all the other trainers in the league that are making content. Their links to their YouTubes are in the description down below, as is a link to the WPF Discord. If you're watching this and for some reason you're not from there, go check it out. It's a really cool group, really cool people, really chill server. If you want to talk to people about Mons, about random stuff, really cool server to just hang out in. Maybe you want to be a coach and apply for season 8. Maybe you want to be a backup coach. You know, we're always in need of those. Also, big shout outs to T4U and TRT77 for helping me build this week. They were really big help. And that'll do it to me. That'll do it for me today. Sorry. So see you guys later. Have a good one. We will see you another time. Peace.